Hey boys and girls, I'm going to go ahead and help you find and get you started on assignment 1201 for math. You're going to go to your math course and we're looking for lesson 1201, a fraction of the fair. This is a 7-page lesson, so make sure you go through all 7 pages. Look through the examples that they provide for you and the content that's in the lesson. On page 7, you'll come to your assignment, a fraction of the fair. I'm going to click on that. And this is a 5-question worksheet. I'm going to help you set up number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are going to be independent. And 5 I'm actually going to allow to be extra credit. So if you get it done, great, you'll get extra credit. If you don't do it, it's not going to hurt your grade. So number 5 is extra credit. You do need to do 1, 2, and 3. And as I said, I'm going to help you set up number 1. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot that, number 1, and let's get started. So number 1, it says to use a line plot to represent the data in the data set. Be sure to include a title and label all tick marks. So we're going to start by giving it a title and labeling the tick marks. So here's our data set at the top here in the box. The data set is snowfall in January, so we can use that same title for our line plot. So we would label that. Let me actually just grab a different color so it stands out. Snowfall in, and I'm just going to put Jan for January. There we go. There we go. All right. All right, so now we've got our title. Now we need to label our tick marks. So when you're labeling your tick marks, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the data set and you're going to label the tick marks from least to greatest using the data set. So looking at our data, we're going to look at what number is our least, our smallest number. So it looks like we're dealing with mixed numbers here. So I'm going to start by looking at the whole numbers. Right away, I see some 1s, then 2, 3, more 2s, more 3s, more 2s, more 3s, 2s and 3s. Okay, so we know that these 1s are going to be our least. We have 3 that are starting with 1. 1 2/4, 1 3/4, and 1 3/4. Well, I know 1 2/4 is least or smaller than 1 3/4, so that's going to be our first number for our first tick mark. We're going to put the least number on our first tick mark. Oops, and that should be 1 2/4. 1 2/4. Now, when we're labeling our tick marks, I like to just put a little check mark so I know I got that number. My next number is 1 3/4. Okay, well, I have 2 1 3/4. I'm not going to need to label those twice. I'm only going to label it once, and then we'll include that second 1 3/4 later on. So 1 3/4 is our next biggest number. And again, you can just put a little check if you want, or a little dot, just to show that you have that on your data set, or labeled on the line plot, I should say. All right, so we've got our 1s. Next, we've got, if I'm looking at the whole numbers, our next biggest whole number is 2. So we've got 2 3/4, 2 3/4. Oh, 2. Well, that so far is the next biggest. I think that's our next biggest because all the other 2s have a fraction after it. And there's actually 2 of those. 2, 2. So that's our next number is 2. All right, and again, we're still going to look at 2s. 2 3/4. We've got 2 here. Oh, 2 1/4. That's smaller than 2 3/4. Here and here. Let's see here. 3s. No. 2. There's another 2 1/4. So it looks like that's our next biggest number is 2 1/4. So again, you can just kind of mark them off as you go so you know that you got that number. Okay. Then let's see here. Do we have any, let's see, 2, We did our 2 1/4. Let's see what our next biggest number is. So we're looking at our 2s, 2 1/4. Oh, 2 2/4. I didn't mean to mark that one. 2 2/4 is our next biggest number. Okay, any other 2 2/4? Okay, 2 3/4. I remember seeing those. So 2 3/4 is our next biggest number. We have a few of those. Oh, there's another one and another one. Alrighty. And it looks like they're going up by fourths, which is helpful because now I already did 2 3/4. Now I can look at my 3s. Are there any 3 wholes? Oh, yeah, there's one right here on the left, and then there's one here on the right. So that's going to be our next biggest number is 3 wholes. And then are there any 3 1/4? Yep, I see a couple 3 1/4. And then 3 2/4. So we know they're going up by fourths. Yep, there's a 3 2/4. So that's our next biggest number. And then we know our largest here is 3 3/4. All right, so now that we have each of the tick marks labeled, now we can go input the data on the line plot. So what that looks like is putting X's for the amount of numbers you see in the data set. So for example, I like to start with the data set and just go through the data set. Our first number is 1 2/4. So we're going to put a tick mark or an X at 1 2/4. Okay, that one's done. 1 3/4. We put an X where 1 3/4 is. That one's done. 1 3/4 again. So we just put another X on top. And this is what a line plot is. Okay, then we're looking at 2 3/4. So again, don't just jump to 2. We're going to go find 2 3/4. Okay, there it is. Another 2 3/4. So we just put that X on top. 3. Okay, 2. 2 1/4. And we're just inputting the data on the line plot. Another 2 1/4. 3 1/4. And I like to cross them out as we go so I know that we have them. 3 1/4 again. 3 1/4 again. 2. 2 1/4. Let's cross those out so we don't lose them. 2 2/4. 3. 3 2/4. 3 3/4. 2 3/4. 2 3/4 again. 3 3/4. And another 3 3/4. All right, so there's our data set with the line plot. Okay, it shows how many of each numbers we have in the data set. But now instead of it being jumbled up in a box, we have it organized on a line plot. Now, with this data, you're going to answer questions 2 through 5. So if we go back to here, number 2, you're going to look at what is the largest amount of snowfall that fell in one day. Number 3, you're going to look at what is the least amount of snow that fell in one day. And then number 4, how many days did it snow 3 1/4 inches? So for that one, you're going to look at your 3 1/4 inches and you're going to see how many X's. The X's represent the days. So there are 1, 2, 3 X's with 3 1/4. So that must mean that there are 3 days where it snowed 3 1/4 inches. And then number 5, as I said, this is extra credit. It says a new piece of data was recorded and added to the line plot. The difference between the largest and smallest amounts of snow is now 3. What could the new values of the data be? So you're going to use that data to calculate what could the new values of the data be. There's actually 2 answers here for number 5. And using that information that the difference between the largest and the smallest amounts of snow is now 3. As I said, 5 is extra credit. If you don't do it, it's not going to count against you. If you do it, it might boost up your grade a little bit if you do it. Okay? All right, when you're done with that assignment, boys and girls, you'll go to the next activity tab. You'll click on that blue plus button and attach your work.